Hi everyone, hope you guys are doing great and especially hope that you had a great night of fun yesterday. UFC 271 was going on with Robert Whittaker and Israel Adesanya, Adesanya headlining that UFC 271 event. So what I propose today is that we do a little recap of that event. And when I'm saying recap, let's not go through all the different fights. We're just going to go through three of those fights. The one with Jared Cannonier and Brunson, Lewis and Bam Bam, Tuivasa, and of course the main event, Israel Adesanya against Robert the Reaper Whittaker. So I gotta say that I've been surprised a little bit by some of the result, although I do think that I shouldn't have been surprised, but nevertheless I was. And maybe I'm going to explain it a little bit later on when we're going to go through the review and the recap of some of these fights. So let's start right away with the recap of Cannonier vs Derek Bronson. Okay, that was actually a pretty interesting fight. And when I was watching the fight, I was thinking that, hey, Derek Brunson, man, I'm going to tell you quite frankly something. It's not that Derek Brunson is not my favorite fighter. I think that he's a little bit too cocky, right? And I just don't like his attitude, right? I just don't like his attitude. But one thing that I must admit is that during that fight, when you look at the first round, I mean, definitely he was all over Jared Cannonier. I mean, he was dominating that fight, and I was going crazy. He was dominating so much that was totally unfair, basically. Whether we talk about uh, striking, whether we talk about ground game, takedowns, level changes, he was the man in the first round. I mean, it seems like Jared Cannonier had no answer for what Derek Brunson was bringing. And when he was going into the clinch or when he was going on the floor, taking Jared Cannonier down, it seems like Jared Cannonier was spending as much energy, if not more energy, than Derek Brunson during those clinch and those grappling exchange, right? But what it seems to me, when we look at the rest of the fight, it seems to me that that physical, that physical fight that happened between Derek Bronson and Jared Cannonier in the clinch, when in the takedown attempts to take down and in trying to keep Jared Cannonier down, right? Also wear down Derek Bronson. I don't know if he was ready from a stamina and an endurance point of view, right? Because technically and even physically, you could feel that when he had Jared Cannonier down on the floor. I mean, he was strong. And when he was taking him down, he was strong, right? Physically, he seems like a strong guy, to be honest with you. Uh, so that's that's what I didn't understand, right? So definitely, Derek Bronson. I mean, this is the case. This fight is a case of. Uh, this fight is a case of one man missing his opportunity, right, and giving the other guy a victory that I think he shouldn't have had, right? Something that maybe Derek Bronson is going to sit down and is going to say, "Damn, I missed my shot." I mean, he had him hurt, right? By strike. He had him, he almost had a submission. I mean, the first round was amazing. The start of the second round was a little bit amazing as well. But after that, things started to go south, right? So again, a missed opportunity. And as much as someone, and this goes for also maybe the recap that I'm going to do with the main event. I mean, this goes. It's needless to say that you can be example. You can be strong physically. You can be sound technically. Have the greatest like I fight IQ and all that stuff. But if out of 10 checkbox that things that you have to check to be the best, you only check 8 or 9, with the missing two, you're definitely giving someone a path to victory, right? And the fact that that Derek Brunson, when he came into the second round, looked windy, looked tired, looked exhausted by his wrestling. He's trying to take Cannonier down because he didn't take a lot of damage in the first round. To be honest with you, he actually gave the damage. Was the one giving damage to Jared Cannonier. So was it an issue? Was he hurt at one point in the first round or the second round, or was it just that the cardio gave up, right? And that after that he didn't have the the, the, the lucidity, right, to be able to carry on his strategy. Not only the lucidity, but also the strength, the stamina to impose his strategy to Jared Cannonier as he did in the first round. So again, this is a case of missed opportunity. Too bad for a guy like Jared Cannonier, who actually did a great fight. I mean, the first round was amazing. When we look at the first round was amazing. Again, I was saying he did hurt. He did hurt. Let's go. You see that? So, so we're gonna see here. Almost submitted him, right, at the end of the first round, right? And here we can see the shot that he gave and that hurt Jared Cannonier. Like I'm saying, missed opportunity all the way for this man, right? And now, what happened is that we're gonna have Jared Cannonier. What's coming next for Jared Cannonier? Well, I think the I was going to say the sky is the limit for Jared Cannonier, but I don't think that the sky. I mean, the sky is the limit in terms of the opportunity that he might have next, because we did hear that Israel Adesanya mentioned his name, especially when we was talking about fresh meat, right? He was mentioning Jared Cannonier's name, right? So we're going to see a little bit after that when we're going to do a little recap of the Israel Adesanya and Robert Whittaker fight, if that really makes sense. That could make sense, but in terms of competitivity, would it be a competitive fight, right? So we're going to see that after. So so let's leave it as that, right? Let's leave it as that, and let's come back to that, to what's coming next. And we're going to talk about Jared Cannonier when we're going to talk about the fight, the main event fight with Israel Adesanya and Robert the Ripper Whittaker. Again, for this fight, basically, I don't know. I think that Derek Brunson just broke down, and I think that there's two things that might have made him break down is or an injury somewhere that happened during the fight, right? That made him vulnerable and that weakened him, or simply that he didn't have the cardio for the strategy that he wanted to go with. As simple as that. And then you got your Jared Cannonier, that is somewhat, but I mean, he got dropped, so he can be hurt. He's not a tank. I mean, when you look at his stature, you look at his physical. I mean, he's a specimen, but his chin is kind of susceptible, right? So he kind of got clipped, and he got hurt. He got knocked down, and but unfortunately for Derek Brunson, he didn't take advantage of it. He didn't take an advantage of his takedowns. He didn't take advantage of the submission. He didn't take advantage of his tracking when he hurt him. I mean, he was all over him. So missed opportunity for Derek Brunson. I'm pretty sure he's going to think a lot about this one, because this was one that really he could have won, and in an impressive fashion, right? And this is definitely a fight that he would like to see again. Definitely, right? Let's just hope that the UFC is going to give him the time and is going to be patient with him to provide him for to to give him the opportunity to redeem himself. Let's see that. Although again, like I'm telling you, I'm not a big fan of the man, right? So let's see what's going to happen next, right? So now let's move to our next fight. Lewis versus Bam Bam Tuivasa. An epic fight, an amazing fight. I really like the fight. And again, guys, we're talking about Cyril Gane. People like Cyril Gane, etc. To me, to be honest with you, I don't think that much that Cyril Gane is a genuine guy, right? I don't think that. I think that there's a lot of acting in this, a lot of positioning, a lot. That's what I think. I don't think it's natural the way he is right now. But when you look at a guy like Tuivasa, I mean, basically what you see is what you get. When I say what you see is what you get at every level, whether he's true when he's talking, he's true when he's fighting. It's as simple as that. What you see is what you get, and the guy is a force now to be reckoned with. It's as simple as that. I mean, there's nothing more we can say about this guy. He took the fight to Lewis. He wasn't reckless. He wasn't crazy, but he knew that at one time they had to bang, right? He got hurt, but it showed great determination and it showed an extremely amazing chin. So here is the thing, here is the deal, guys. Again, like this one, the same thing. I was going to say miss opportunity. I don't think so that it is a miss opportunity. In the Derek Brunson fight, and in the Derek Brunson fight and the Jared Cannonier fight, Derek Brunson had him hurt, right? Derek Brunson had him under a submission threat, right? And we could see that he was actually really dominating that fight, right? And that he could actually win that fight. Now, this fight here is pretty interesting because we know that Tai Tuivasa is a durable guy, right? But we know also that Derek Lewis, he's a crazy dude in terms of knockout power. That's what he's known for. And I think that everybody, when they see a fight coming up between Tai Tuivasa and Derek Lewis, they're talking about knockout. They're talking about power, one punch knockout, and that's the path to victory from Lewis, and that will be the path to victory from Tai Tuivasa as well, right? Man, this fight was something else. This fight was something else. My question is the following: is it that we are overrating Derek Lewis's power, or is it that Tai Tuivasa has a crazy chin, or is it simply that Lewis, with all the punches that we see that he landed, right? Because he kind of landed kind of a lot of shots, 24 shots. Usually maybe 12 or 10 are enough to take someone out for Lewis, right? But he landed 24, and Tuivasa was still standing and banging, right? And hard, right? Lewis even took him down. Lewis even took Tai Tuivasa down. He made the Francis Ngannou out of himself. But Lewis is got, he's bringing his mouth against Francis Ngannou, and he's trying to imitate him. And he find out that it's not that easy to be Francis, right? It's not that easy, right? So this definitely a great fight. Again, a fight of lots of opportunity, because the question that I'm asking basically is a rhetorical question. Is it the power or is it the chin, right? But we know that it's the chin. It's got to be the chin, or it's got to be that none of these punches like landed flush. That's the only reason that I can see for Tuivasa still standing up after the barrage of punches and strikes that he took, right? That's the only thing I can think of, right? Or he's got because Derek Lewis has knocked out. I mean, you don't get a knockout record that he got without having power in those fists. I mean, You don't do it's just not possible, right? So definitely he has power. So for sure, Tai Tuivasa has a great chin. Let me tell you this. He has a great chin, right? And that chin carry him out all the way to victory, right? As simple as that, right? And also one thing that I would say, and this is the story as well of this fight. Not only the missed opportunity by Derek Lewis because he had those advantages, he took Tuivasa, and kudos to him to be able to mix and show us some evolution as well, right? Unfortunately, that his evolution didn't bring him to victory, but he did show us some evolution with some takedowns, some kind of ground and pound. He did show us his evolution, but again, at the end of the day, he fell short, and at the end of the day, again, he gave up. I mean, if there is something that a theme that is recurrent, I think in Derek Lewis's, and that's troublesome. His uh, ability. I was going to say his ability, but I'm not going to say his ability. But is his freaking habit to give up. He gave up against. I'm going to say he gave up against Mark Hunt. He gave up against. He gave up against Daniel Cormier. He gave up against Cyril Gann. And here again, he gave up. And I'm going to say he gave up. And I'm not using that word lightly. And he gave up against Tai Tuivasa. Not only that, but we need to understand as well. We need to understand as well that Derek Lewis, when we're talking about pressure, I don't know if he can really handle the pressure, right? It's been twice that he's been fighting in Houston. I think that he's not going to like fighting in Houston anymore, right? And on top of that now, not only he's giving up, not only under pressure he's a little bit weak, but on top of that, he wants only to fight 3 round fights. I mean, let's be serious here. Let's be honest, right? What's going on with Derek Lewis? What is going on with Derek Lewis, right? I mean, he's talking a lot of smack lately. I mean, every press conference, he's hyping up the thing, talking trash, talking, okay, let's bang, I'm gonna knock his ass out. And the last fight, he just gave up. And when you look back at his previous loss, this previous defeat, you realize that he gave up as well. And that this is a recurrent theme. Now, I don't know about the UFC, and again, man, I do understand that these guys are fighting for their family. They have to bring food on the table, so on and so forth. I understand that. But at the end of the day, you want to see a show, right? You don't want to see someone as soon as he sees some adversity, like especially in this type of sports, that he gives up. That's not what you want to see. And also, I mean, Derek Lewis now, I don't even know if he's that much a challenge for any new heavyweight that is coming into the game, right? And that that is smart enough, right, to put a game plan, because the game plan against Derek Lewis is pretty easy, right? You know that you're going to make him tick as soon as you start, testing his calves and his legs. That's definitely not. I mean, as soon as Tai Tuivasa low, threw the first low kick, right? As soon as he threw the first low kick, you could have seen the urgency in the face of Derek Lewis, right? He knew that he couldn't be standing still as a standing target. No, he couldn't do that because he was going to get piece up apart, and he and he had those flashbacks, I guess, of Cyril Gann, busting his leg, and after that coming up and finishing him. It's as simple as that. And you could see in his face as soon as the first kick came in that, hey man, I cannot keep standing there. I have to move forward and bring it to this guy. And that's the reason why he brought it to Tuivasa, because that's not really Derek Lewis's style, right? Maybe he was there to protect his leg. and especially that he's not the guy, the kind of guy, to kind of switch stand and kind of right change his lead leg to kind of protect his leg when one is too damaged, you know, or accumulate too much damage. So there's different ways not only to avoid Derek Derek Lewis's power, right? But there is also good ways to beat this guy, right? Boom, take down here, and you got your Derek Lewis who's playing Francis Ngannou right here, right? Even Daniel Cormier was saying that, yeah, yeah, he's doing wrestling now, right? So, I mean, that was an interesting fight at the beginning for Derek Lewis. He gave a good account of himself. He tried, and when he realized that he couldn't, right? Well, this is definitely when he realized that he couldn't. What when he realized that he couldn't, what happened? When he realized that he couldn't, well, what he did, quite frankly, is just again, like I was saying, he gave up, and that's a recurrent theme. So, what's next for Lewis? I don't know, man. To be honest with you, I don't know. I don't. First of all, I don't think that he's in the picture he's in a title shot picture anymore. That's for sure. If the UFC wants to milk him a little bit more for one big fight, obviously it will be the rematch against Francis Ngannou. But I don't think that right now Francis Ngannou will be interested on a rematch with Derek Lewis. I think that he's got bigger fish to fry when you got all these guys like the Cyril Gane that are still in the picture, Stipe, John Jones that is in the picture as well, and now you got your Bam Bam Tuivasa that is in there, and we understand why he's in there. I mean, Derek Lewis put out Dark House from the equation, right? Put out Dark House from the out of the equation, and now the UFC had to put someone else in, or to you know what to bring back Lennox Lewis in a legit way into title contention, which didn't happen. So we have a new player now in the final five or the final four, which is Tai Tuivasa now, and a very serious one. And I think that all the Cyril Gane and the John Jones and the Stipe of this world should take notice of this guy, because the reason why I say they should take notice of him, because he's got a fierce power in his punches. He's pretty agile for a big guy, right? Pretty mobile for a big guy, and he's freaking durable, like a Francis Ngannou is durable. I am, and maybe even more. So when you look at and that would be an interesting fight, him and Cyril Gane, by the way, right? Because let me tell you this, he will get to Cyril Gane. He will get to Cyril Gane, definitely, right? But he's not that big of a wrestler. What we want to see right now for Cyril Gane is try to go through a seasoned wrestler like Curtis Blade, and then we'll talk after that, and maybe we'll give him Tai Tuivasa in there, to make everything perfect. But yeah, So next for Lewis, I think that first of all he's got to pick himself back up, and he's got to think about what he wants to do next. Because I really think that the rest is kind of up to him. Does he really want to fight anymore? Does he have that drive anymore? Especially when you, again, like I say, when you see that it is a guy who likes to give up. I mean, this is simply, he gives up. That's crazy. If we were back in the days of, let's say, the gladiator, and I mean, he would be like a cat. He would be dead like 7 times. That's unbelievable. So I don't know what's the plan of the UFCs for him. But one thing that I know for sure, and that I think for sure, is that he's not in title contention anymore. I don't even know if he was, but he definitely not anymore this time. and we got a new player. We got Tuivasa. Yeah, let it be known. Let it be known, because this guy, I think he's the real deal. He's the real deal, most definitely. Yo, guys, take notice. This is a real heavyweight. And he's in the style. In the style. I mean, you don't need to bounce. Again, I've always been saying that you don't need to bounce for 5 rounds to be a mobile and to be efficient in the way you move, right? It doesn't make sense. Otherwise, everybody will be bouncing, and not everybody is, and all the champion will be bouncing, and that's not the case, right? That's not the case. So next for Bam Bam, I think that sky is the limit. What he's looking for now, I guess, is someone between 1 and 5 at least, right? That would put him into that contention for the title, which he's looking for. And I think that if that's the case, that would be a great fight, him and Francis Ngannou, right? That would be definitely a great fight. There's great fights coming up in the heavyweight division, right? So where we have now, what we have, Francis Ngannou, we got Stipe that is still there. We got Cyril Gane, and now we got Tai Tuivasa, right? Let's yeah. So we will look at the rankings some other time, guys, right? So start per round. We look at the ranking a little bit later on, but I mean, you got these three, these four up there, right? Francis, Stipe, Tuivasa now, Silgan that is still there, and sorry, 5, and John Jones, right? I think that there should be like semifinals and stuff like that to to decide who's going to go and face the champion, people. But keep this name in your mind. Bam Bam Tuivasa, and keep this name out of your mouth, Derek Lewis. Yeah, deception for me, to be honest with you. Big deception. Again, especially because this is a guy that the UFC is promoting a lot, right? And this is a guy, to me, that doesn't really. Again, I'm going to say I understand that these guys are fighting for their family to bring money on the table, right? But we also need to understand that for someone that is in that spot, there might be someone else that could be better than him, right? That can occupy that spot and make a living for his family as well. Right now, I don't think that Derek Lewis is big draw, and I don't think that when you look at his past history of giving up, that it is very very appealing. So I don't know really what the UFC, again, what bias they have, you know, to keep to keep him happy, right? Maybe because he's from Houston. I don't know, but this is something that we're gonna have to follow up. What is going to be the next step for Lewis? But one thing for sure, he's got to look inside himself and try to see if he still wants to fight, right? Because the options for him are getting narrow. So I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to spend too much time again. I think I said most of the thing that needed to be said about this fight, right? And that man, yeah. Welcome to Tuivasa, man. He deserves it. That it's as simple as that. He deserves it. He showed that he was the man, and he was the man. He dominated it. I mean, he never got rocked, never got hurt. Took it to Derek Lewis. Took whatever Derek Lewis had to bring from him. He was durable, guy. I'm telling you, all of these guys up there. If you didn't take notice, you better take notice now, because Bam Bam is the man. He's coming for you guys. I still have faith in Francis, though. That would be a dope fight, and I still have faith in Francis. But I'm gonna tell you, Taito Ivasa, first of all, is dangerous for Francis, but he's even more dangerous for all of the guys that are below, from the John Jones to the Cyril Gane, right? going through the Stipe and what have you. All right, so this is how it is. This was the story of this fight and what these guys are gonna do next, right? Missed opportunity again for from Lewis. Big durability, a lot of durability, a lot of strength, a lot of power in this fist, a lot of will, a lot of drive from Tuivasa. I love the guy, right? I love the guy. So yeah, great fight, great fight. Yeah, and the result also makes sense. Right? It was not questionable one bit. Okay, so now, people, let's get ready. This is the main event of the evening. Yes, let's go with Adesanya and Robert Whittaker now, right? I'm pretty sure everybody that's the fight you're interested in, right? So what can I say about this fight? What can I say about this fight? Right? I think that this fight went the way it was supposed to go. I think that Robert Whittaker had the good strategy to be able to win this fight. Now, Didi had all the tool to be able to express that strategy and to bring it to Adesanya so that that strategy be effective to be able to give him the victory, right? To be honest, I didn't watch the fight again. I watched it once, and from what I remember, I do believe that Israel Adesanya did enough to keep his title. And what he said was correct. I mean, when you say like, oh yeah, I did enough to win, yeah, that's true. That's true. When you do enough to win, that should give you the victory, regardless if one is champion and the other one is not. But we could see that during this fight, in terms of intent, first of all, Adesanya seemed to be the aggressor because the strategy of Whittaker was the strategy that we talked about, which is not to be too to be kind of patient on the striking side, right? Do some level change, try to time Israel Adesanya for a takedown, and take advantage of this takedown to control him on the ground and maybe do some ground and pound, right? And on these feet, just try to score some points, right? And again, time, right? Try to score some point, go totally in or totally out, and try to score some points on the, and then do the most damage and the most control on the ground. He tried to do that. Robert Whittaker. He did try to do that, right? He got some takedowns. He was elusive, a little bit more elusive, standing up, right? He wasn't rushing into the attack. He was making sure that he wasn't lounging too much, right? Tried to vary his attack, and the zones of strike, right? Kicks, jabs. Didn't use that much his right hand, right? But again, it wasn't enough to beat Israel Adesanya this time. Although he did follow exactly the strategy that he was supposed to follow, right? But the thing is that this strategy again wasn't efficient against Israel Adesanya. Why? Why wasn't it efficient? Right? Now here's my thinking here. Right? For Robert Whittaker to win this fight, we said that he had to go on the striking side. He shouldn't be, go all out in the offense and leave himself open. He should be very wary, right? About the distance management, about when he's going in, when he's coming out to protect himself, keep its hands up, right? And also time, take Adesanya down, control him on the ground. What didn't he do right in there? I mean, to be honest, he did the striking, the standing up, he did it perfectly. Again, like I was saying in some of my review, I do believe that the way he kicks, right? The way he throws his low kick, especially his front kick, his push kick, is not a very secure way. He doesn't look very comfortable in doing it, and I don't think that he's got the right technique. I mean, it just looks bad and awkward and dangerous for himself. But nevertheless, during this fight, standing up, he did his thing. He did his thing. He did connect with a lot of jabs. He didn't get rocked that much except once, right? Which was a straight left that straight down the pipe that knocked him down, right? But after that, he got up right away, right? And he was leaving the initiative to Israel Adesanya to attack, to draw him, to draw Israel Adesanya to him, to be able to counter by striking, or to be able, I think, to level change, take easy down, and try to bring him on the ground, which he did. So what didn't work? What didn't work basically is that he wasn't able to control Israel Adesanya on the ground, and that's what I said during the review of this fight. You know, the prediction of this fight is that, yeah, I mean, this is what Robert Whittaker needs to do to be able to beat Adesanya. And I was saying that, yes, I think that Robert Whittaker will be able maybe to take Adesanya, Israel down, but will he be able to keep him down? That was the issue. A lot of people have been succeeded in taking Israel Adesanya down, but they never succeeded to control him. The only one that succeeded in controlling him was when he lost the fight against Barowich or something like that, right? And the reason why is pretty simple. Adesanya in this weight class, in the middleweight weight class, is a freaking beast and he's freaking strong. That's the thing. So not only I think that there's two things in there in trying to control him on the ground, right? There's two things. I think that first of all, and again, guys, I'm just going to say I'm a casual, right? I watch this because I like to watch this, right? There's certain things I notice, but I'm no mean an expert in wrestling, jiu-jitsu, or what have you. I'm just telling you what I've seen and what my logical sense tells me that should have been done from all the fights that I've seen. When I see Israel Adesanya down and that you don't control his wrist and that you know already that this guy is really strong, already he's really strong, we got an issue. Right, we got an issue. I mean, you got to control his wrist like Francis Ngannou was doing, right? So let me try to find out when at one moment he was taking easy down. He did succeed in taking easy down, right? Okay. Okay, is it here? Let's see here. Right? Boom, he take him down. Right? Easy is here. And what we see here, right? Okay, let's let's give that free. Let's give them the free ad, right? So here you got Whittaker who's going to take. Okay, he's taking easy down here. He's taking easy down. He's grabbing him, but we can see Easy still got some leverage here. He's got some leverage with his other hand that he can do whatever he wants to do with it. But let me tell you this: take out this hand, bring it close, and you got a better control of your guy, and he's not able to to be able to fight, the going on his back at this point. That's that's what I understand. So maybe a lot of you guys that are wrestling expert can tell me this. But when we saw the fight with Francis Ngannou, we see that Francis Ngannou was always controlling and bringing the other arms and controlling the other arms to avoid that his opponent has this leverage to be able to get back up, which was Siragan. And you could see that Siragan wasn't able to get back up, right? Where can we see it again? I think that towards the third round, something like that, it happened again, right? So let's see if that's okay. I think that's the place here. You see? So here, first of all, he doesn't have control of Israel Adesanya. And here, I think it's kind of a Hail Mary type of trying to do something. But at least, right, he did try to do some submission. He was a little bit active in terms of trying to control Israel Adesanya, but he didn't control him. And I think that was where he lost the fight. Where Robert Whittaker lost the fight is his lack of ability to be able to control, but just control. I'm not even talking about ground and pound, but just to control Israel Adesanya on the ground. And this is due, first of all, to the strength in terms of power, right, of Israel Adesanya, right? This is due to his power. At middleweight, he's one of the strongest middleweight, right? And it is due also to a lack, I believe, of technique, right, of IQ or on the side of Robert Whittaker, that is not controlling, doing enough wrist control of Israel Adesanya when he's going on the floor, right? I don't know if I can. There's one place where he's taking him down. Let's see, one place where he's taking him down. Let's see this. Let's see this. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't have it. Let's try. I don't have it. But definitely, the strength of Israel Adesanya at this weight class is just too much for his opponent. So we can see that in his case, he's a little bit like, let's say, and we can see the difference, right? When he moved up into the weight class, although I think that he should have won against Brokowicz, I think he should have been a little bit more incisive. He should have had a lot more intention, you know, on the striking side against Borowicz, and I think that he could and should have won that fight. But in terms of the ground game, we can see that Brokowicz, who's a bigger guy, a stronger guy, was able to bring Israel Adesanya on the ground, not only to bring him on the ground, but keep him on the ground because he's that strong, right? So that's what I'm saying here, and that's funny when I'm taking when I'm talking about it. It's really funny. Why is it really funny? Because I remember that when you're talking about the fight Ngannou against Cyril Gane, right? Cyril Gane was complaining that Ngannou was too strong, right, and was winning the wrestling department because of his strength, right, not his technique. First of all, that's totally false. He did show a lot of great technique when he was taking him down, and that's just how do you say that? That's just not true from Cyril Gane, and that's just show the type of person and ego that he has, right? But he was saying that, oh yeah, because Francis saying like if the strength shouldn't be part of the equation when you fight. Isn't that stupid or crazy? We can see here that if Robert Whittaker didn't succeed in taking him down and controlling him down, was at least controlling him down, is because Easy, first of all, was very strong, and second of all, I think that there was a little bit of lack of technique, and even if he had that technique, would have been able to to execute with the strengths of, I don't know, right? So when with Cyril Gane he's talking about, oh, he was too strong. Like, should we ban like the people that are too strong from the fight, or what? What's going on, right? I don't. There's something that I don't understand. But this is another issue. We're not going to talk about that because it definitely makes no sense at all, right? So here we have it here, right? Definitely one of the reason, and I said it during the review of this fight, right? I mean, you got a guy that is 6'4", that and here is how I put it, guys. Here is how I put it. The reason why Whittaker lost was because of the 7-inch, the 4-inch, the strength, right, and the fight IQ, I guess, right? Why do I say that, right? And especially because of the because of the 7-inch, the 4-inch, the strength, right? Especially because of these guys. Why am I saying that? The 7-inch, the 7-inch, first of all, man, 7-inch reach difference. That's big, right? And that's not easy to overcome, right? Especially when you have, and we're going to talk about speed as well and all that. When you got a guy like Israel Adesanya in front of you, right, that is almost as fast as you are, That's got a great fight IQ, especially standing up. That's got a great striking game. It's a big deal. It's a big challenge to be able, to overcome that reach difference. So 7 inch, the four, right? The four is the size, man. I mean, you got Israel Adesanya, he's 6'4". You got your Whittaker, who is 6 feet. That's a big difference. Not only he has smaller arms, but he's smaller, so he has a great distance to be able to go to reach to get to easy, right? And in his way to get to easy, there is a certain distance that he has to cross where easy can actually get to him without Whittaker getting to him, right? And again, we said that Easy is strong, he's got a great fight IQ, he's a great striker when we talk about kicks and hands, right? He's got great feints. I mean, you got all of the tools to be able to be deadly on his feet. That's as simple as that. On his feet is almost, I would say, unbeatable there. So that's why the strategy of Robert Whittaker, the best strategy for Robert Whittaker was definitely to go all in or all out, right? Makes sense. But if he wanted to win, right, when he was getting into the clinch, what I think that he didn't do enough. First of all, obviously he was trying to, to do level change, do double or single leg. Like we know that he was trying to do that. What I would have liked him to do at time is that to pace himself, right? And first of all, when he's in the clinch, mix not only the level change, but mix also the body shots, the elbows like Tuivasa did, right? And that's what I wanted him to do basically when I did the review, right? Because I was comparing it to a boxer, right, who's facing somebody who's faster than him, who's more skilled than him, like a Floyd Mayweather fighting somebody else who's not as fast, etc., or as elusive. You have to corner him, take him there, and try to hurt the body. You like I think that it was Eric Nixon who was talking about that. I mean, to blow a tire, I mean, you don't only have to it's not only by striking or by kicking the calves, right, or giving low kicks. I mean, you can give good body shot and you'll flat the tire pretty easy, right? Elbows also. I mean, give them a different thing to think about, even in the clinch. Even in the clinch, the guy should ask himself, man, is he going to come to me with elbows, uppercut? Is he going to come to me with body shot? Is he going to come to me with knees to my stomach or knees to the legs? That's the thing. And when you're in the clinch, man, there's many times he was in the clinch, had Easy's back. He was not even giving any knees in the back of the leg of Israel Adesanya. I mean, you have to think about all these things. You have to be lucid. You have to be, aware of everything that is going on, right? So I just think that that's where the fight has been lost, in the sense that first of all, he didn't take advantage that much of the clinch to to make Easy think a lot, right? To make he didn't go there. He didn't do that much, right? He didn't do that much, and I think that that's sad, because coming out of the first round, you could see that Robert Whittaker was pretty winded. He was pretty kind of discouraged, like if he was thinking that, damn, I have a strategy, but to take him down or to the clinch, but I can't even take him down. I can't even get close to him enough to take him down. On top of that, he's zooming in on me. He's knocking me down and stuff. So what's going to happen? And I still have 4 rounds to go, and you could see that in the second, when he was sitting like in his corner, he was defeated, right? Coming the second round was a lot better. Coming the third round, a lot better, and things got started to get a lot better going towards the last rounds. What I think that his corner should have told him is that, man, Easy is starting to doubt. Easy is starting to doubt. I mean, he thought that he was going to get you out of here after the first, and especially after the second round, but you're still standing. He's starting to doubt. So it's your turn. You have to push now. So to be honest with you, this fight here, I'm not going to say that Easy won this fight. I mean, Easy is my man. You gotta understand this. Easy is my man. He's a compadre. He's from Africa, and I'll never root against Israel Adesanya here. But in this fight here, I would say I would say that Robert Whittaker basically lost this fight. He lost this fight because he had everything to be able to win this fight. If he would have had 2 minutes of ground control, if he would have had 3 minutes of ground control, only that, he would have won the fight. 1 minute, I wouldn't even say 1 minute or 1 minute and a half of ground control, he would have won that fight, right? But for some reason he couldn't, and I think that the reason why he couldn't, a little bit lack of technique and a big lack of strength compared to the strengths of Israel Adesanya. And we all know that on the feet, it's not easy to compare to Israel Adesanya, to be honest with you, and especially at this level of middleweight, right? Because let me tell you something. We know that Easy is not crazy. Easy doesn't mean crazy. When he fights people that he know or have heavy hands, he's not the same. He's not really the same. We could have seen it in the fight against. We could have seen it in the fight against Yoel Romero. Very telling fight. And we could have seen it in the fans in the fight against Borowicz as well. Very telling fight. People have the blueprint to beat Israel Adesanya, whether it is at middleweight, whether it is at light heavyweight, and so on and so forth, right? But at the division where he's the champion, there's not a lot of people that are, first of all, taller than him, and there's not a lot of people that are, second of all, stronger than him. And mind you, he's got legs. I mean, Israel Adesanya's got legs. Look at his body, look at his physique, right? What you don't see is that he's got pretty big legs, pretty strong legs, right? So, the story of this fight, yeah, again, again, missed opportunity, right? In the sense that, you know what? Robert Whittaker did basically what he had to do. He stayed on the outskirt, score points, right, without putting himself in too much danger. He did some level change, initiated the clinch, took Easy down. The only thing that he wasn't able to do, and that cost him the fight, is the ground control. And maybe that's something he needs to work on. But the strength, the physical strength, is really something that is not easy to work on, right? Because Easy's been dealing with his power. He has this strength since years, right? And for him, it's not an excess of energy to be, utilizing those muscles, that strength, right? But for Robert Whittaker, how can he become stronger, right? And that strength, like, not affecting other part of his game. I don't know, right? So it's very difficult. But I think that with a little bit more technique, though, he would have been able to do a little bit more thing, a little, with more control of the wrist, like I was showing, like when he took Easy down, right? He would have been able to keep him down a little bit more, a little bit longer, and to show that okay, I have some ground control at this stage, right? But other than that, I don't know. And was the fight close? Yeah, I would say the fight was closer. I gotta rewatch it, but I'm pretty sure the fight was closer than we think it was. I'm pretty sure because Robert Whittaker did throw a lot of jabs at Israel Adesanya, right? But again, I do think that Easy did win this fight for sure. He did win this fight. It was the I think that during all the fight he was the one that was the aggressor, and again that was a position that Robert Whittaker was willing to give him because he was part of the strategy to draw him in, right? But where he didn't do the job is in the clinch and although he had all this game during this fight, he didn't do a good enough job in the clinch and on the ground, and that cost him the fight. It's as simple as that, right? Now, what's next for Robert Whittaker? Ah, He's got to go down the rabbit hole again and fight killers again, right? Although, well, killers, I don't know what are all the guys that are in the division right now, but he had to go, down the line again and at least 2 or 3 fights down the line and to try to get that third fight against Israel Adesanya, right? And I do think that he may deserve it. I hope that he may deserve it, and I hope that he think that he can beat Israel Adesanya, because the way he's talking is worrisome to me, right? The way he's talking is like, yeah, nobody can beat this guy. Nobody will ever beat this guy. And I think that even if it's true, that's not a way someone like him should think, and at least not let his opponent think that, right? Keep it to yourself, work it out with yourself, and then try to find a way to change that that thinking, right? Because man, he did look like a defeated man, and he's got to sit down and a little bit like Derek Lewis, start to think a little bit about what he wants to do, right? And does he still have the drive to go through like 3 or 4 opponents before coming back and having the chance to duke it out with Israel Adesanya again, right? So it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to see. But that was definitely a good showing, a better showing from Robert Whittaker. And like I was saying also during the review, we know that chin there is very suspect. It's a suspicious chin, right? And it showed again during this fight, right? And I was saying that if he was to go on striking alone, there is no way that he could have lasted the 25 minutes. No, absolutely no way, right? So he did a good job. He did a good strategy, but it's just that he didn't do a good enough job, right? And he just fell short. I think by lack of power and lack of a little bit of technique, right? In my opinion. So what next now for Easy? Well, like everybody was saying, Easy is lapping and lapping and lapping all the people in his division. I don't know if that's literal or if that's fact. I don't know, but seems like he's lapping everybody now, right? So what's next for Easy? People want to put Jared Cannonier on the mix, and that's what I was telling you earlier. Keep that name, Jared Cannonier, in your mind. We're going to talk about it a little bit later on when we are going to talk about Israel Adesanya and Robert Whittaker. Are you serious that you want to see a fight between Jared Cannonier and Israel Adesanya? My question is going to be why, if it's not just to give a good payday to Jared Cannonier. And I think that that's what Israel Adesanya wants to do. He wants to give a good payday to Jared Cannonier, right? That's my thinking. Because when I look at the fight that he just had, right, with Derek Brunson, I don't see how in the world Jared Cannonier is going to beat Israel Adesanya. Usually, right, when we talk about UFC, we say that every cat on every given day has its chances, a purchase chances, and so on and so forth. Baladi balada. No, sir. For this one, I'm being honest with you. I'm being honest with you. 100% that Israel Adesanya beats the hell out of Jared Cannonier. And to be honest with you, if he doesn't do it in the first round, I will be surprised. And in the first part of the first round, to be honest with you, right? I don't even see how we can think that a fight with Jared Cannonier against Israel Adesanya could be competitive or could even sell. Because I would like to know how they would sell this fight. Obviously, they're gonna do some editing or of highlights of Jared Cannonier saying that, oh man, the guy is durable. He's got a punching power. He's knocking people out. He's a beast and all that stuff. Bull. That makes no sense. I've seen this fight yesterday. I've seen this fight during 271. And when you see this fight against Derek Brunson, I'm sorry. But there's no way that this guy that I saw against Derek Brunson could beat Israel Adesanya or could even make that fight interesting. So yeah, kudos and shout out to Israel Adesanya, because I do believe that he's doing this out of kindness, right, to give that chance to Derek Brunson. Although he's saying that yeah, he needs some fresh blood, new blood, but this is going to be how do you say that, a walk in the park fight for this guy, for Israel Adesanya, for what I can see, right? So when we're talking about him fighting Jared Cannonier, forget about it. That's ludicrous. That's totally crazy. The guy that makes that still makes sense right now that I know of, definitely would be again Robert Whittaker. And to be honest with you, I mean, uh, what's his name? Vittori. Marvin Vittori wasn't bad either. He did a good account of himself against Israel Adesanya. Again, a little bit like Robert Whittaker. He didn't take advantage of the when he had easy on the ground. He didn't take advantage of that. Everybody knows the blueprint, and again, physically, people underestimate the physical strength of this guy, right? And this is nothing to be, and you better not do it. So Marvin Vittori would be interesting as well. I mean, we'll talk about some other time a little bit deeper, and we'll go a little bit deeper into the different options that Easy has, the people the option he has to fight, right, in his division or outside of this division, because we're talking about John Jones. That will be a great fight. That will be a very interesting fight. And now for this fight, here it is, man. I'm not going to bet against Easy, bro. I'm sorry, but it's going to be an interesting fight between you and John Jones if ever that happens. But then again, I'm not sure that John Jones will be ready to lower his weight again, to come back after spending time gaining all that weight, right? So this is something that I don't see how and when it's going to happen, except if they go with with a catch weight, where you got Easy taking a little bit of weight, and John Jones losing a little bit of weight. But other than that, I don't see how it is much possible right now. Right? But if that was the case, let me tell you this is not a done deal. You got in John Jones a guy who, first of all, is very strong, right? Whose strength can compare or is even superior to Israel Adesanya, and you got a freaking D1 division wrestler, a college wrestler, but he's got credentials in wrestling and can definitely keep Israel Adesanya down. If Brokovich was able to keep him down, it's not John Jones who's not going to be able to do it. And regardless of how Easy is going to spread his legs, man, Jones is going to take him down. We can see DC, he don't care, man. Like single leg or double leg, he's going to lift you up and slam you down. That's a theme in DC's fight. At least once in the fight, he's going to do that to you. What he did to to what's his name? Alfredson. I don't think it's Alfredson. Gustafsson, right? What he did to Gustafsson was amazing. He picked him up in the air, slammed him down, and that's a recurring theme again on DC's side. So definitely see that's something that would have been interesting to see. John Jones, Israel Adesanya, but I don't think that it's in the landscape, it's in the picture right now, especially with John Jones gaining so much weight, right, to go into heavyweight. So again, we'll do another video. We'll do that a little bit later on, right? But right now for Israel Adesanya, at least the only thing that I can say is that Jared Cannonier is not going to be a competitive fight. And man, I just hope that the UFC is not going to insult our intelligence in trying to make us believe that Jared Cannonier can actually beat Israel Adesanya. That would be insulting, right? That would be really insulting. Not the Jared Cannonier that I saw in UFC 271 against Derek Brunson. If Derek Brunson wouldn't have anti tank or injured, or I don't know what happened to him, right, between the first at the end of the first round and the second round, let me tell you this, it would have been a total domination and total destruction, right? And now, yeah, just yeah. So there you go. And just talking about Jared Cannonier quickly. I mean, the elbows that he gave to Brunson at the end, people are screaming out Ngannou, you know, with his hammer fist at the end of the fight. Man, you got people that are vicious in this fight game. You got people that are vicious, right? And that will strike you until the ref comes and stops them. And if the ref is at the other side of the octagon, you can imagine, you know, what is going to be, what is going to happen to the guy who's at the receiving end. That's crazy. That's totally crazy. But in any case, that's what happened. So again, UFC 271. Yeah, there was some great fights. There were some great fights. Interesting fight. Jared Cannonier and Brunson. That wasn't the fight that I was the most interested in. That was an interesting fight, but again, not the fight that I was interested in. But the Lewis Tuivasa and the Adesanya Whittaker really pay the bill. So definitely Tuivasa, man, keep it up, and everybody in the heavyweight division take notice. Israel Adesanya against bro, that was awesome, right? Africa still have three kings, bro, three kings, bro. And again, I'm very happy that about the discussion about Kamaru and Israel Adesanya, that money wants get him to fight, and I hope that they still going to, you know, to oppose the greediness of Ali. Kamaru's manager really wants them to fight. And I don't know why he's insisting that much that they want. I think that there's more nobility in not fighting a brother for money than fighting him for money, right? And Israel Adesanya is totally right, man. He's a guy I'm starting to like in the sense that, but I really like him because he's African brother, right? So three kings, we got three kings. Let's not break this down, right? But the things that he's saying, I think now have a higher, higher value, higher impact, I would say. And they really make sense. I mean, I think that now he really, more than ever, he really do represent not only New Zealand, but I guess Africa as well, right? Um, so yeah, that's a great thing. That's amazing. Great victory. I think that no one can take him can take this victory away from him. Robert Whittaker, I think that he went in there thinking that he could do something. When he got in there, he was a little bit. He was thinking maybe something else. After that, he kept going on with his strategy, and it just fell short, man. Just fell short on technique and strength. That's it. What I'm saying is technique and strength to apply his strategy. But on the striking side, forget it. I mean, Israel Adesanya is level ahead, right? But yeah, yeah, it is what it is. So no knockout in any case, like in the first fight. So a lot more competitive than in the first fight. A lot more interesting, a lot more cerebral, a lot more use of the fight IQ strategies, and a lot more, it was an MMA match per se, with stand up, and ground game, right? So I hope you all enjoy that. Please let me know what you think about the recap, the review, and we can. I'll read your comment and I'll reply to what you think, because obviously I don't have a crystal ball and I don't have the truth. So we'll see, right? But that was a good, that was an interesting card. That was an interesting card. I was not like the best, but the two fights, especially the main event and the co-main event, was I think amazing. Yeah, definitely. Hope you guys enjoyed it. So you take care, and I'll talk to you guys some other time. Peace.